Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you like watching TBR videos and if you are participating in Nonfiction November yourself. The amazing readathon Nonfiction November has started. It is hosted by a book Olive. I'm going to leave Olive's original video on this challenge in the description box below in case you want to watch it to get all of the details. But in short, you can participate in this readathon by just reading one nonfiction book in the month of November. This is optional. Olive likes to give 4 prompts, so 4 words that can help you build your TBR. I'm going to do what I did last year, which is I'm going to tackle all of the books that I already own, and I'm going to find ways to interpret them to fit into these prompts. The first prompt or word is fraud. For this category, I chose The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. I don't have a physical copy of this. I already checked it out from my library as an audiobook. This fascinating sounding nonfiction is about Henrietta Lacks. Under scientists, she's known as Hela. She was a poor black woman, a southern tobacco farmer, and without her knowledge or consent, somebody took her cells and used them in the name of science. Her human cells were grown in culture and they're still alive today, but her family knew only 20 years after she was deceased that this actually happened. Her cells were vital in developing the polio vaccine. They were also very important for cancer research on what atom bombs do to human cells and for lots of different viruses. The way I understand it, this book finally pays tribute to what Henrietta's cells did for humanity. Unfortunately, she never knew this, which is why I chose this book for the category fraud. The next prompt or word is web. This can be interpreted in many different ways. The first book that I chose for this is Chemistry for Breakfast, The Amazing Science of Everyday Life. I'm holding up a German copy because the author, Dr. Mighty Nguyen-Kim, is a German-Vietnamese scientist and journalist. This was written and published in German. But you can get the English translation. I actually saw it in an independent bookstore the other day on the sales rack, so that was exciting. The reason why I chose this book for web is because she used to have, or it still exists, a YouTube channel called My Labs, where she creates video essays and deep dives into scientific and political topics. In other words, her own web show, but she also used to do a lot of work for TVs, news channels, etc. Each chapter talks about a new topic, and this book is supposed to make chemistry very accessible, and it's demonstrated on everyday life activities. The other book that I sorted into web is An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth by Chris Hadfield. You might recognize this from last year's Nonfiction November challenge. It's the only book that I haven't finished last year because while I have the physical copy, I chose to listen to this on audio, and I had to wait a few months for my library to obtain a copy. So this is a memoir by Chris Hadfield, a Canadian astronaut. You might know him from his YouTube videos, and I'm almost done with this. I'm absolutely loving this. The reason why I put this into web is because he filmed the very first and maybe only ever music video in space and posted it on the web. Well, I think technically his son posted it on the web. It's a cover of Space Oddity by David Bowie. I'm gonna leave it in the description box below so you can go watch it. This is such a great book. It's exceeding my expectations, so definitely recommend if you're looking for books for your TBR. Then I have a third book that I sorted into web. It's Hape Kerkeling's I'm Off Then, Losing Then Finding Myself on the Camino de Santiago. This book is from 2006. Again, I have the German copy because the author is actually a German comedian slash entertainer. I don't really follow his works now anymore, but he used to be super famous when I was younger. This book came out in 2006 and I remember everybody and their mother reading this. This was a bestseller, but I've never gotten to it until now. This is his travel memoir that he did on the Camino de Santiago. The pilgrimage is over 600 kilometers long. It starts in France and ends in Spain. I started this book on November 1st. I only read 50 pages so far. So far, it's good, it's solid. This is definitely giving me Eat, Pray, Love vibes because this is a travel memoir about him finding himself and also trying to probe what his relationship with God is. Has anybody watching this ever done a pilgrimage, or do you know somebody who did something like this? It seems like a huge undertaking for me. Almost forgot, the reason why I put this under web is because I was imagining streets and hiking paths as a geographical web, if you will, which I think is even more applicable in European cities. The third prompt is the word capital. For this, I chose a middle grade memoir called Free Lunch by Rex Ogle. This one I randomly found on the Indigo website, I think last year or so, and it sounded very interesting to me. So the author Rex is reflecting on going into 6th grade back then, and he used to live in a wealthy school district, but he himself and his family were poor, and he was signed onto the free lunch meal program. Back then, his mother and her boyfriend were both out of work, and he experienced outbursts of violence at home. So I don't think that this is going to be an easy read. I put it into capital because I interpreted that word in the fiscal sense, so like money and the lack thereof in this case. I don't think I've ever read a middle grade nonfiction so far. This is going to be interesting tonally how it is, because it sounds like this is not going to be very easy to read about, or I don't think it was easy to write about, and yet you have to appeal to a younger audience when describing your life. The last two books fall under the prompt display. So the first one is Nefertiti, the Mystery Queen by Burnham Holmes. This is a little picture book. I wanted to include this. I got this as a gift from my cousin in the Philippines, and I brought it back here. Perfect for Nonfiction November. This is just a short story about the Mystery Queen. I really don't know a lot about this queen, so this is very fitting for me to learn something new. And I mean, look at the cover. If this doesn't belong in a museum display, then I don't know what else. And lastly, I have I Am Malala by Malala Yousafzai, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. Actually, she wrote it with Christina Lamb, an incredible activist, and I think the youngest laureate of the Nobel Peace Prize. Her fight for access to education is displayed on the global stage. That's why I put it in this category. That is my official nonfiction TBR for this year. Hopefully, like last year, I'll be able to squeeze in a few more nonfiction books. I have a few that I've tried to reserve in my library app, but I don't know if they'll be ready for November. Please don't forget to let me know in the comments if you're also participating in Nonfiction November, and tell me what is on your TBR. Please don't be shy to let me know in the comments if you've uploaded your own nonfiction TBR on your channel. I'm super happy to watch it. If you want to let me know that you're still watching, then why don't you leave me an emoji that has either to do with display, capital, web, or fraud. You can be as creative as you want. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to watch my future wrap-ups to see what I think about these books. I'll see you guys later. Bye.